It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Okay, I've never seen this on a VIC-20 before. This is Demon Attack. I've played it on the Atari 2600 quite recently actually. Ooh, nice noise. Yeah, this is working. It's actually very similar to the 2600 game. Movement is super smooth. Sound is nice and sparkly. I don't think it has the depth of the Atari audio, but that noise is lovely. I'm liking the Magic logo on there as well. Ooh, nice bleepy beeps. Come on, die. Good colour as well. There's like a colour gradient on these here demons. I don't know how many colours the VIC-20 has got. But seeing that kind of gradient on there, I mean, what is it? It's probably actually only 3 colours on them, but it works well. It's like a yellow, red and purple perhaps. But it kind of looks like more. Oh, are these the ones that are going to split into multiple? Oh, you bugger. No, they're not. They're the ones with the super powerful lasers. Oh, you... Ooh. Die, demon thing. You see, I know all the correct terminology here. Demon thing. I feel like I want guided bullets. Of course, everyone wants guided bullets, but... Ooh! Yes! Ooh! Ah, okay. What now? They're like crabs actually, as much as anything. Well, that made it. It's like I tend to think of them normally as like birds, like the bigger birds on Phoenix, but these ones look more crab-like, which I guess makes sense given that they're demons. I guess. I mean, what do demons look like? If you're watching what's it called? I have forgotten. The thing with the talking cat demon. Everyone says it's a talking cat, but it's a demon. It's the thing done by The Simpsons. I have forgotten what it's called. I watched it recently on Netflix and it's reasonably amusing. I don't know what I'm talking about now. Talking cats. Ooh. Oh, these little buggers are just... Stand still and let me shoot you. They do try and crowd you into a corner. Don't like that. Go away. They seem to go yellow, some of them, and get really aggressive. Maybe that's... Yellow is attack mode, perhaps. Like they weren't attacking already, but, you know, like super aggressive, they're going to chase you off the screen attack mode. Yeah. Gotcha, you little bastard. Oh, what more? What are these? Mutant... I don't know what. Oh my god, they're just... Oh! Oh god, how did I get through that? Oh! It does get you on the edge of your seat. Words, I can't. Get over, you bastard. I want to see what comes after this level. Or is it more of these, or do we get something different? I want something different. I like Normally I don't like change, but when it comes to levels on video games, I like change. What the? Okay. Giant, weird frog things, maybe. Or fish, like catfish with big mouths. So, you bugger. Floppy-eared catfish. Yeah, that's got to be an A. Or maybe bullfrogs. Arse. Arse. That's something actually that Nick Jenkin observed on his recent video of a demon attack on the 2600. You sometimes respawn right under their fire and like die instantly if you're not paying attention, or even if you are. Oops, God. Oh, bugger. And that is that. That's an interesting noise. It sounds like an old modem. Okay, so that is Demon Attack by Imagic on the VIC-20, being played via the Penultimate Plus cartridge from The Future Was 8-Bit. That's a long sentence to try and say off the top of your head. I like it. I'm not the greatest fan of Demon Attack as a game, but I think that's a perfectly respectable rendition of it. Okay, thank you for watching. Hello, today's question for Q&A is from Jon Marston, link to his channel down there. He asks, question for Q&A, your favourite amusement arcade growing up? That's the business, not an individual cabinet. Okay, I've mentioned this one before, so what can I tell you that I haven't told you about it before? It was in a place called the Agora in Wolverton, which when I started going there was indoor roller skating. They had like an indoor market on weekends. Did they have it on weekends, and was it originally there at all on weekends? I don't think it was. I think right from the very start it was just roller skating, and then later on it became a market, and then it became more lucrative to have it as a market all the time. But they kept the roller skating going for quite a few years. And at the side of it, there was this arcade that largely I think was open just when the skating was on. Could be wrong, might have been open in the daytime as well. But I used to go there when I went skating, because I went skating on a regular basis. I still have those roller skates, I seem to recall mentioning in a video recently. And it was open from, I would say, the very early 80s. I was in comprehensive school at that time, so yeah, from about 1980-ish, 82, 81, thereabouts. May have been earlier than that, because I remember the systems that they started out with. I mean, they had the very early arcade games. They didn't have Pong, but they certainly had Space Invaders. They had a lot of Space Invaders. They had Asteroids, but they had things like Gunfight and Up Periscope, or whatever it was called. And what was the reverse one of Depth Charge? Those kind of games. They had Lunar Lander. They had Speed Freak. All the really, really early stuff when I started going there. And then it gradually developed, and I mean, I remember being gobsmacked when they got Galaxian, and it was like, holy crap, they've got colour video games. And so then they got Phoenix. Oh God, what's that game with the really booming bass? I have Astro Blaster, that's it. And then they had things like, they had Tempest, blew me away, and they had iRobot, and I played iRobot a lot. Tempest, oddly, was broken most of the time. I have heard that it was something to do with the way it was designed. It got really, really hot and kept frying the chips. But I do recall trying to play that many a time, and it was broken. iRobot didn't last there very long, which was a shame, because I loved it. They had Battlezone, they had Star Wars, obviously. Though not for as long as I would have liked. Star Wars kind of went away, and I don't know why, because it was brilliant. They had Gyros, they had Donkey Kong. They never had Crystal Castles, which I found kind of curious. They didn't have Popeye either. They didn't have all of these at the same time, all at once. My God, it would have been huge. It was not a very, very big arcade. There were probably, at best, 24 cabinets at any one time. Yeah, something like that. And, like, was there an air hockey? Not sure. They got, so what did they get? 1942, they got Commando. That was probably one of the last, oh, and then they got Super Hang-On. That was probably one of the last ones I remember playing downstairs. Because when the skating became less popular, and they got a indoor market on the skating rink, there was still an arcade upstairs, and I remember that having more modern games in it. They had Operation Wolf, which isn't a lot more modern, but I remember that being one of the first ones that I played upstairs and loving it. And then they got Street Fighter 2. Because arcades were kind of fizzling out. The one downstairs, I think they couldn't justify it being an arcade because it wasn't bringing in enough money. So they had arcade games upstairs where there was a bar, and downstairs became like a cafe. But upstairs they got Street Fighter 2, and this was the game that supposedly like revitalised arcades, which were fizzling out at that time. Mainly because I think people in the UK had got Spectrums and Commodore 64s and one or the other of those mostly, and it was like, why go to an arcade when you can play Space Invaders at home kind of thing. It wasn't as good on your home system, but it was good enough that people weren't going to the arcades. And then Mega Drives and stuff like that. But they got Street Fighter, and it picked up again at that point. What else did they have up there? They had Marvel. It wasn't Marvel superheroes. They had like Avengers and Captain America and all of those kind of stuff. There were Marvel beat 'em up games, which I didn't play. I played Street Fighter 2, obviously, but the Marvel stuff and those kind of things, I looked at them and remember thinking the graphics were really cool, but they didn't make me want to play them for some reason. And then they got Super Monaco Grand Prix, and I mean, gobsmacked, absolutely blown away. And Outrun, which didn't actually... I played it and I was impressed with it on a technical level. The way it was throwing those sprites around really quickly and creating a sort of convincing 3D effect. But I didn't actually like the game. I found it too hard. Couldn't make any progress. It just didn't matter what I did. I couldn't make any progress on it. I suck. But there it is. So I didn't play that. They had Chase HQ up there. Was it Chase HQ or was it... is it called APB? Something like that. It was a cop car racing, chasing kind of game. I can't remember if you were shooting at the car in front of you or just trying to ram it. I think I only played it once because I couldn't work out what I was meant to be doing, which was a thing. Quite often I would look at games and think that looks great, but I couldn't quite work out what it was you were meant to do, and I didn't want to spend money on a game where I didn't know exactly what you were meant to do. I mean, someone with more money, I think, would have put money in and learned as they played, like figured it out or whatever, but I didn't want to do that. It was like, if I don't know what I'm doing, I won't last very long, and I want to last more than 30 seconds, so I didn't play it much. What else did they get up there? Oh, Dragon's Lair. I remember them having that. I played that once and concluded it was not a game. It was just a memory test, and it wasn't like you could ever actually work out what you were meant to do with the joystick. It was purely trial and error. You know, a thing happens, push the joystick some random direction, you die. do it again, whatever happens next time, push it a different direction, and maybe you die and maybe you don't, and rinse and repeat, remember what you did. And that to me is not a game. Not a game at all. It was rubbish. So I was like, didn't rate that. I don't know at what point that place shut down. They did stop having arcade games. They got rid, did they get, yes, they got rid of the bar. And they had a cafe upstairs and downstairs. And all of the games just went. They weren't, it just wasn't profitable. So where the arcade cabinets had been, they just had tables for people to sit and eat their breakfast, which is mostly what people were doing now. I don't know what it is about breakfast in a cafe, but that's what people were doing. So yeah, that place I went to from the very, very early 80s, may have been the end of the 70s, I'm not completely sure, through to 93-ish, I would say, thereabouts, 93, 94, something like that. I think by 95 it had fizzled out. And that's the Agora in Wolverton. I loved it. It was always a bit seedy. Even at its best it was a bit seedy. It was a bit, it wasn't strictly speaking a friendly place. There was always a little bit of tension, a little bit of you watch yourself, or rather watch what the other people are doing, really, because yeah, tense. Or maybe that was just me and paranoia, because I can be like that. But I loved it and I miss it. There are no arcades around here at all, which is a shame. The last arcade I went to was in Milton Keynes at the Escape Centre, you know, the big indoor skiing thing, Snow Dome as they called it. I don't know if that's still there now. It was there then. It was impressive actually. They had a lot of games, though the only one I remember playing when I went there, they still had Sega Rally, and that was cool. I don't know what else they got there. I was just pleased that they had an arcade at all. Okay, I think that answers that question. So, as always, if you've got a question you would like answering in a video like this, just ask in the comments below and begin your question with for Q&A so that I know not to just answer it in the comments. Okay, thank you for watching.
Ah, yes. So, I ring the button that releases the hound to that subscribe button. Oh, hello, yes. Do subscribe.